good people? What is going on? Another episode of the All Go Podcast. I'm your host, Desmond. Thank you for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. Want to talk about a couple quarterbacks and a couple head coaches. The first quarterback we'll talk about is Shedeur Sanders. And I'm going to give Shedeur some advice that he did not ask for. But as we all know, Shedeur is going to get his first start this upcoming Sunday, which is 2 days from now. Dillon Gabriel is in concussion protocol. He's going to miss this week. And depending on how that goes, maybe another week. But as it stands today, he's going to miss this week. So Shedeur has been getting first-team reps. There's been a lot of talk about should he have gotten any first-team reps before the season or during the season, so on and so forth. I don't really care about that. I just think at the end of the day, what Cleveland has shown is they are a dysfunctional organization. I've mentioned it plenty of times on the channel with videos that you cannot overcome that. There are very few, in my eyes, like two quarterbacks in the history of the NFL that are good enough to overcome dysfunction. Nonetheless, Shedeur's going to start, and from all indications, what it seems like is Dillon Gabriel is Kevin Stefanski's guy. He is the one that seemingly Stefanski pointed to and said, yes, with our third-round pick, let's draft this kid. We like him, so on and so forth. And it also seems like the owner of the Browns wanted Shedeur Sanders, and they drafted him. And the only reason I say that is because if you draft a quarterback in the third round of a draft, you would not then go and draft a quarterback in the fifth round, because that seems pretty redundant, because it is. It's not a offensive guard position where you've got two guards on the field all the time, or two tackles or anything like that. Tight ends, wide receivers, right? You only have one quarterback. So obviously coach and owner are on different pages, but Shedeur is going to get his opportunity to start. The most important thing that Shedeur can do is play on time. If it's a 5-step drop, when your back foot hits that fifth step, the ball needs to come out. It is more important for Shedeur to complete a 2 to 3 yard check down on a first or second down than it is to try to wait and hope that you can get a big play and then potentially get sacked. Because fair or not, he is going to be judged unfairly. Is that what yeah. So it's not going to be fair. They're not going to look at it and say, oh, well, the O-line should have blocked better. It's going to say, oh, no, he held on the ball too long. And honestly, he does have a tendency to do that. I made a mention during his one of his preseason starts, that his whole kind of, I call it the whirly bird 360. You cannot do that in this game, because number one, your O-line's not good enough for you to do that. Athletically, you're just not good enough to do that and survive and escape. And three, once again, there's going to be a microscope on your play. And if you don't play on time, it's going to be trouble. It's going to be trouble. And I think he's got the ability to do that. He did that at Colorado, where, he's getting the ball out quick, getting the ball out on time, that's the thing in the NFL, man. Hitting a check down on a first down, a second down, those are wins. You have athletes everywhere. If you hit Quinshon Judkins for a 2 yard catch, who knows? He might turn around, break a tackle, and get a first down. You never know. Or let's just say he catches that 2 yards, gets another 3 yards. Well, now we got 2nd and 5. So it's going to be critical for Shedeur to play on time. He cannot hold the ball. Some of the bad habits that he had at Colorado, you cannot do that in this start on Sunday, or it might be your last start. And that leads me to my next point is Kevin Stefanski might be on a hot seat. Or I'll say it this way. Kevin Stefanski should be on a hot seat, because what they have done in Cleveland with this, with all of it. Andrew Berry, Stefanski, the whole Deshaun Watson thing was a nightmare, was a disaster. You guys somehow Stefanski's supposed to be this quarterback whisperer and, all of this, latest and greatest things, but we can never get anything done with the offense. You get a chance to pick your quarterback, you mess that up. Somehow at one point in training camp, Kenny Pickett was your starting quarterback, was QB1 on your depth chart at one point, which is just an absolute joke. Like you cannot tell me you're a serious franchise or a serious head coach and you got Kenny Pickett is QB1 for your team. Now, set Shedeur aside, it should never be Kenny Pickett. He's never the answer to any question other than we need another training camp arm. Who should we go and get? So who knows what this season will end up with, happening with Cleveland. Defense is great. Offense is awful. And it's not going to be great. They had an opportunity to trade Myles Garrett, and I get it. You don't make a great living trading away great players like that. But when Myles Garrett has the value that he does, which in, let's call it March, or it was Super Bowl week, because he went around Super Bowl week saying, hey, I want to win. I want to go to a winning franchise. Cool. I would say if Micah Parsons got 2 1s, I get it, he's younger, but Myles Garrett is a superior player than Micah Parsons is right now. I mean, Myles Garrett, you could just pencil him in for top 2, 3 for Defensive Player of the Year every year. So if Micah gets you 2-1, if you get 2 1s for Micah, the conversation is probably going to start at 2 1s and 2 2s for Myles Garrett. And for a team devoid of talent, at least on the offensive side of the ball, that's how you jumpstart your franchise, is you load up with some young, cheap talent, you find your quarterback, you kind of restart the clock there, and that was a way out. You had an easy way out, and you didn't take it. You decided to sign him for a boatload of money. He's deserving of all of it, make no mistake. But you guys are going nowhere fast. Nowhere fast. So, who knows what's going to happen at the end of the season? Once again, Cleveland is dysfunctional, so they may just run it back. But it's not trending well. That's for sure. Another quarterback we can talk about is JJ McCarthy. So he is obviously the Minnesota starting quarterback. And there's been some talks, and I think it was JJ who mentioned it, that they are trying to rewire his brain and basically you're trying to fix his mechanics. JJ likes to do all this, philosophical stuff. Dude, you're just learning how to play the quarterback position. Quarterbacks go through this all the time of changing their mechanics and things like that. It's not anything new. What it typically is footwork. Most quarterbacks that are inaccurate and throw the ball all over the place, their feet are not lined up the way that they're supposed to be. Shout out to QB School. JT O'Sullivan runs that channel. Learned a ton on that, so feel free to check that out right here on YouTube. But it's to me, it's excuses for why you're not playing well. Because you had all offseason to go through and do all the, mechanic. That's when you do this type of stuff. You don't do it during the season. And now because the thing is, the way it stands now, you're sporadic, you're all over the place, you're inaccurate. Well, to try to work through that while trying to fix your feet, it's a recipe for disaster. And I get trying to improve and work on things, but from the sounds of it, you're trying to change everything. You're trying to totally remake how you throw the ball. That's not gonna go well. JJ, I think, has always been a talented guy from the time he was at Michigan, and since that time, me personally, JJ's been a bad decision maker. when it comes to any type of volume that he's got to deliver the ball, he takes way too many chances. I think some of it is reps, because when he was at Michigan, his first 2 years, he didn't play full time. I know for sure his freshman year he didn't play full time. I think he did split some time with Cade McNamara his sophomore year. Then his junior year, he was a full-time starter. And even in that year, which they went to the national championship from, if I'm remembering correctly, in that year he only he basically threw the ball about 21 times a game in that season. And now, I've talked about it before on the channel. It's just like he's never had to consistently carry an offense, whether it was college or now in the NFL. And while that's not an ideal scenario, like, you do build up certain, you just understand how important it is, ball security, taking chances, but when you need to, you don't consistently need to take chances. And not quite sure what is going to happen with JJ. I think it's super early, but it's not great. You've only played 5 games, something like that this season. Most of it has been bad. He's basically had a 4 3/4 games of bad, and a quarter of really good. Not great. And you've also missed time. And honestly, I don't think he's done missing time, because to me, he still looks skinny. Like, you've got, especially if you're going to be a guy that moves around and can run, dude, you've got to put on weight. This is a large man's game in the NFL, and they're fast. So we'll see what happens there. But also too with KOC, once again, another quarterback whisperer that JJ's not improving, doesn't look better. You guys decided to let Sam Darnold walk. He's tearing it up in Seattle. You had Daniel Jones in the building. He's tearing it up in Indianapolis. The only quarterback who's not tearing it up is the guy you decided to stick with. I don't know what's going to happen this season. There's still, a lot of season left. But, I mean, if the Vikings go 2-6 in this last, 8 games, what's that going to look like? It could go the other way. Maybe they go 6-2. Who knows? But I would say with that quarterback play the way it is, not going to happen. So, a lot going on. We will see what happens. But that is it for me. Appreciate it. Peace.